Hello, hello. Sorry to interrupt all the question writing. Thank you for all of your questions in advance. That is just wonderful. My name is Allie Welch. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Pullman, and thank you all for being here for our City Mayor Forum this evening. We are going to also have this on Zoom and recorded for uploading to the internet later. I believe it was 2 or 3 days in last week, so it should be pretty quick this week. And I would like to begin with our nonpartisan statement first. The League acts in support of or in opposition to selected governmental issues which its members have studied. It does not support or oppose candidates, factions, or political parties. League members as individuals are urged to work in the political party of their choice. To protect the League's nonpartisanship policy, guidelines regarding the political activities of the Board of Directors are reviewed frequently. The League of Women Voters of Pullman is fully committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion in principle and practice. These concepts are central to our current and future success in engaging all individuals, households, communities, and policymakers in creating a more perfect democracy. We acknowledge and honor the first people of the Palouse region and their descendants, including our neighbors, the Nez Perce, Colville, and Coeur d'Alene tribes. All right, before we get started this evening, I want to go over a few ground rules in our format. Please be respectful and civil as always. Thank you, appreciate it. Please refrain from any interruptions, even clapping. It'll just help the evening go along a lot quicker and we can get to a lot more of your questions faster. Please silence your cell phones while we're all thinking about it. And the library will be closing at 7, but the bathrooms in the front will be open for us until the end of our forum this evening. And as I mentioned, we are here for our mayor candidates, which is a term of 4 years and serves as the chief executive administrator of the city. We have Francis Benjamin here and Deb McNeil with us, and we will be doing a 2-minute opening, 2-minute closing, and 2-minute answers, rotating each candidate answering a question first. I'll go over writing the questions, but it seems like everybody already knows the deal. Please write your questions on an index card, raise it up in the air, and we've got collectors that'll run around and grab them for you and bring them up to the table. Please write legibly, and you may ask as many questions as you like. Just be aware that we are reading all of the questions in order to avoid duplicates. So if possible, we will be combining questions, kind of touching on every subject as much as we can and getting to the point of your questions as well as we can without repeating the same question all night. All right, are we ready? Let's begin. Let's start with our 2-minute opening statements. And, oh, I'm sorry, did Deb leave? We'll start with Francis anyway. That's perfect. You're first alphabetically.
Great, thank you, League of Women Voters, for this moment, for this opportunity, and for those that are here and also those watching online. I'm Francis Benjamin, and I'm running for Pullman Mayor. I care about our community, and I've dedicated more than 30 years as a community leader and 13 years on City Council. Heidi and I, we met in college. We chose to stay in Pullman because of the people and because it's a great place to raise children. I've worked at WSU for over 35 years, designing psychological research, managing IT, and on faculty teaching real estate. Heidi's a licensed mental health counselor and has her business practice here in Pullman. Some of my community leadership service includes Pullman City Council, Pullman Chamber, and over the Chili Bowl, past president of Kiwanis, president of the Community Council on Aging, co-chair of Pullman 2040, and 10 years mentoring high school students and mentoring over 100 business entrepreneurs. And most recently, I led the first annual Three Forks River and Arts Festival. Together, we've advanced Pullman as a welcoming and diverse family-friendly community. Often candidates focus on a single issue, but that's not the case for me. My leadership and passion for volunteering extends from youth mentoring to senior advocacy, from housing affordability and food security to economic development and resources for business entrepreneurs. Building a welcoming community, that means advancing a community and government that's respectful and responsive to our community members. And to accomplish that, in addition to my list of things, I also feel we need to first of all start with communication. I want to improve communication, improve it as a two-way so that people feel their voice is heard and part of the decision-making process. Also, if a community member asks a question, I want to make sure there's a timeline for response and that the city responds within that timeline. And third, I want to improve the City Council's long-range visioning in order to make it better involve community input. This is what, as mayor, I'm committed to do. Thank you for your time. I look forward to our discussion tonight.
Yeah, on to Deb.
Hello, everyone. I'm used to standing up, so I will stand up for this. I've been assured that those of you in Zoom will still see me, so it's a good one. I'd like to thank, I'm Deb McNeil, and I'm running for mayor. Boy, did we create a storm this year, didn't we? So I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I'd like to thank Frances for running for mayor. It's a tough job for all of us who choose to run. And I'd like to thank Jack, my husband, who keeps food in the refrigerator and clean clothes in the closet, and is the master sign distributor, and just for his overall sense of humor, it keeps me grounded. As I sat down to write my opening and closing statements, Charles Dickens came to mind. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I invite you on a journey of imagination, a journey where the question, what if, becomes our guide towards a remarkable Pullman that can be truly wonderful. A place where conversation and communication are clear and concise, and social media is rumor-free. Okay, you can laugh. That was a joke. If I could do that, boy, we'd have a sparkling social media around here. We will find and set up an effective line of communications to ask for your input. Let's create a Pullman where we encourage and listen to the creative ideas offered by all of our community. As your mayor, I will build relationships with local partners, our schools, hospital, university, and all that it entails, small to large businesses. I will reinforce a positive and forward-thinking culture. I will strengthen our fiduciary partnerships with our Legislative District 9 representatives and our Congress members. I have done hard things, and I have made tough decisions. And together with others, I have held up the ceiling when needed.
Thank you, Deb. Time is up. Okay. All right, we will begin with our questions. And let's start alphabetically again, Frances. How does your background make you the best candidate for mayor? And what experiences will you draw on to effectively lead Pullman?
Thank you very much. So if I think about what are the experiences that you need and for a mayor that's needed in Pullman, the first thing is you need to have experience related to the city. Understanding city government, how it works, understanding processes. So for me, first of all, I've spent 13 years on city council, so I've been in depth and understand that piece. The other is you need to have a good connection with the community and understand really how diverse our community is and approach the diversity in that way. And for me, I've spent over 30 years in leadership within our community in the various organizations, and it's ranged from youth to our seniors to food security, advocacy, different things like this. So those are the pieces that I feel very important. I think you also need to, as a part of that, have a touch point, and that's where with 2040, I have over 50 different projects that I'm, as co-chair, managing and mentoring within 2040 that are the different things that as a grassroots community has said they want done. So understanding what's the issues that is important to community. For the other side of the mayor piece is I feel that a mayor needs to have a very good relationship with all the other entities in town. You need to be a collaborative worker. And that's something that I've done in a strong way, whether it's with university leadership, with hospital leadership, with school district leadership, with city leadership, even with SEL leadership, in a way that to be able to advance Pullman in a way that really involves everybody in that way. The last piece that I'd say is connected to the community. And there needs to be an open, responsive way of connecting to the community involved. And because I've been out in all these different organizations, involved with them, I feel that that's giving me a touch point to hear from really a wide variety and diverse group of people. Thank you.
And then, could you repeat that? Of course. Sorry, I put it in the wrong spot. How does your background make you the best candidate for mayor? And what experiences will you draw on to effectively lead Pullman?
I see the mayor's position as the mayor for the people. I have herded cats for 38 years. Did you know they were called cats? Using soft skills, using mindful listening, encouraging participation, and convincing these cats to move forward. I'm not a check-the-box type of leader. I am a different type of leader. I bring forth all of the attributes of a servant leader: communications, clear and concise, being able to relate to people, mindful listening, all of those things in creating relationships, lifelong relationships. All of those things I bring to this job. That is, I believe those leadership skills are needed right now because of everything that has happened in the last couple of years.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, not paying attention.
I practiced all my questions for 1 minute, so I'm not
There's
going to
time for
talk.
filler. All right. Up next, Deb, you will go first.
Okay.
What are your 3 priorities in your first 3 months of office?
Oh. Well, prior to January, I will be working with Mayor Johnson and the city administrator on updating the budget for the budget update, which is the 2023-24 budget. I would like to focus on infrastructure. I would like to focus on looking at our police and fire safety and making sure that they have the support, that when we add another 100 houses and 1,000 people, that infrastructure is set up and ready to go. That we aren't developing a city so large and so quickly that we can't keep up with it. And I think most cities that are in trouble with crime and whatever else that is happening to cities is because we don't think of that safety infrastructure ahead of time. So I think that is an extremely important part to our priorities. I have a top 10 list. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew you would. Excuse me. I think it's the McNeil in me that just
You're going to run out of
crazy.
time if you don't start talking.
Here it goes. Meet with the communications team. Art Commission, get it back on its feet. Firefighters, how can we help progress infrastructure? Evaluation of Michael Urban. Oh, if he was here tonight, he'd say that's fine because he wants to be evaluated. He hasn't been in a long time. Connect with legislature and Congress. Go to the Department of Transportation in Spokane and start to develop that relationship. Work with city council members. Meet with all other governance types. Create actual events and dates for outreach. And take time for myself and my family. And not all of them are equal. And not all of them are 1 through 10.
Thank you. Francis.
So 3 priorities in 3 months. I feel that the first priority is going to be the relationship that happens with the staff. We have incredible staff in the city, and they need to understand transitions, and we're going to talk about transitions and changes in leadership and different strategies in that way. If we talk about differences from Mayor Johnson, I like more meetings and I like more public input as a part of meetings. And so one of the things that I want to work on is how do we increase that public input piece. And that relates to communication, make sure our communication is not just the city communicating out, but is also, it's a two-way street where there's opportunity for people to come back and connect and communicate. I feel that as a part of that piece, we also need to get the city council more opportunity for do the long-range visioning that they're supposed to be doing. And so one of the things I want to do is work on structure the city council meetings related to that. Because for the city council, they're supposed to do this visioning, and I want for at least one meeting a month where it's focused just on visioning, where we pick a topic, we learn from staff about the topic, learn about whether emerging issues on the topic, and we also have community input as we work to craft this 5, 10, 15-year plan related to it. The other side of it is going to be out in the community and connecting to all the different community entities and the people that are related there. So if we look at those first 3 months, it's really supporting the staff, helping them understand the difference that I am, working with the council in order to improve communication on that side, and then out in the community with the transition, because there's going to be changes and transitions as it relates to relationships from one mayor to the next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next. This one was asked multiple times, so I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it with all of these different ways of phrasing it. Some cities use a mayor council or a strong mayor structure, whereas other cities use what is known as a weak mayor structure, where city council members rotate mayoral duties. Is this something that you would support, and if not, how would you describe your role in interacting with city council and city staff? And that's you first. Yes, sorry.
So the current structure in Pullman is a strong mayor structure. The other structure that was referenced is a council managed structure. And what that means is in a strong mayor structure, the mayor is the one that's also the chief administration officer for running the city. The city's council sets the vision, and then the mayor carries it out. In the council managed position, it's one where the council sets the vision, but the city manager carries it out, and the council member that's elected as mayor is more as a figurehead for attending the different events, but they're not the one that's actually involved in directing and carrying out the city business. And that's something that really is by a vote of the council. The council wants to change that. And I know there's been discussions back and forth related to it. If we look at within Washington State, there has been a transition in the last 10 years moving toward more councilmanic than we have for the mayoral. But it really is, it depends on what works best for the city. The thing that I would first say is we've had a mayor for 20 years. It'd be good for us to pause at least a period of time before any decision is made on that. So the decision is one that's evaluated based on what's best for the city and not reacting to someone who's been in for 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb, would you like me to repeat that one
Yes,
question? Yes. Pullman uses a mayor council or strong mayor form of government. In some cities, there is a weak mayor form of government where city council members rotate mayoral duties. Do you support this? And if not, how would you describe your role in interacting with city council?
I'll start out with how I see my role right now in interacting with city council. I'd like to have a relationship with each city council member to understand where they're coming from, to understand where they see the issues, the problems, the whatnots out there, the concerns that they have. But I also want to ask them, in a strong mayor situation, I can ask them to really reach out to their constituents. And when you do that, then communications comes back as transparent, and it becomes more evident that perhaps the city council is making the right decision, maybe they aren't making the right decision, But if they aren't reaching out to our city residents, they're making a decision in a vacuum. Now, in terms of the strong mayor, weak mayor type of situation, I would say that as I've looked through the information lately, there are several cities in the state that have actually tried that strong council and reverted back. I don't know for what reason, but that's certainly something, if you want to bring it toward city council, forward to them, I think that's some of the research that you could do. Why are they reverting back to the strong mayor? Thank you, Francis, for the informative lecture on that, too. I feel like I'm in civics class again, but actually many people don't know that we have that type of government. So thank you for that question.
All right, Deb, you're up next again. If you want to stay standing. I will. We got to rotate when there's only two of you.
Okay, what methods and strategies would you use to improve communication between citizens and government, such as accepting input from citizens?
Let's not assume that social media is the end-all to communications, first of all, period. I mean, some of us have Facebook, some of us have Instagram, some of us don't have any of that. Some of us read the newspaper, some of us read our phones for the news. It's all over the place. We have families that are busy from 7 a.m. in the morning, get up, go to school, do their activities after school, 8 o'clock at night, they go back home. They don't have the bandwidth for that. So how do we do that? We reach out, and we do an outreach with all sorts of groups. There are people who are civic-minded right now because they have the time and they have the energy. But what about the people who don't? So how do we handle that enlarged group of people who don't read the city website? How do we do that? We put an app up for people who do that. But if people don't have social media, there are many other ways that we can find to create input to city council from all of our citizens and businesses, by the way. Our business members, I stop in and talk to them for a few minutes and they're just overwhelmed. They're trying to stay ahead of the game. So how can we do outreach with them? And that was one of my top 10 priorities too, was to do outreach with people.
Thank you. Francis.
Thank you. So if you think about how the city communicates, and I've thought a bit about this as we've had in the last couple of months communication issues that have been expressed. And what I realize is that the city is using a model that is an outdated model as it relates to communication. If you go back 10 years, the way the communication style was is you would put stuff out, you'd put it in the newspaper, and then everybody would get the information. Our communication inputs that people receive now is very desperate in the way that it's not just one media that collects that. The city has started with different departments going and starting to use other types of social media, but that doesn't provide an easy round-trip ticket back and a way for people to feel that their voice is actually heard and involved. And also part of that social media piece is a challenge for us as a city based on Washington State law as it relates to public records requests. And so whatever communication method we use has to be done in a way that as a city we can capture it and hold those records for the length of time that we need to hold them as it relates to public records. And so that's the challenge, and so that's the piece that I feel that really needs to be worked on, is how do we improve the methods of communicating out and doing a round trip. If we think last year we started the town forums. We haven't done the town forums as a whole. Individual council members had before, and I see Brandis because the ear is perking up, but as a whole, as a council, we have not done that. And I appreciate Brandon for the initiative that he took and that actually got the council moving in that direction. For these public forums, I feel we need to have more of them. And they need to be in such a way that it's not the council up on a dais, but it's down with the council, among the people, and involved with the people.
Thank you. All right, Francis, you're up next again. 3 steps. I'm sorry.
Baby steps.
I'm just reading exactly how it was written. What are 3 steps that you would take to put the city of Pullman on better financial footing?
Three steps, financial footing. We run a balanced budget, which is very, very good as a city. So from the financial standpoint, we are financially solvent. We're not running in the red. Now, if we look at our community, how our community is funded as it relates to a funding model that comes into the city, most cities, they have this 3-legged stool that is sales tax, property tax, and then it's also your fees, so aquatic centers, rec fees, things like this. If you look at City of Pullman compared to other cities, our leg of the stool that relates to sales tax is much lower than, and percentage-wise, than other cities, and that's because we're on a border community and people are traveling elsewhere in order to buy things with cheaper sales tax. So what we have to do is really, and so what then happens is the burden falls on the property tax side. And then if we think in that context also, because Washington State is a state institution, a state agency, they're actually exempt from property tax. And so as citizens, we actually fund more things in a higher proportion than others, than for WSU. So one is conversation with WSU as it relates to how can we make sure that the fair share is being paid. The other is keeping on the really making sure that we keep as a financial footing, we don't overspend, we don't take on new projects in that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb? Yes.
Money is the root of all evil, isn't it? I don't know what to say, except we're going to have to raise sales tax. We are the lowest taxed city of our size in the region. Sorry, I said it tonight. But we also need to understand, as Francis said, that we have plenty of property around here that is not taxed because it's state exempt. So let's take the problem to legislature and look at it in a different way. How can we work with the legislature to fund those cities with a special system, a recognition that the cities who have these universities around that don't get the property tax, and how can we do that? How can we bring extra monies back to those cities? It's not just us. It could be Ellensburg. It could be Walla Walla Community College. All of these places need support, and they need support so that we have the availability of these places for future education. I think we need to seek funding in other ways. It's not just the sales tax, but it's looking at people who would love to give some money to the city. I mean, it's pretty easy, but it does take a board of directors, it does take a foundation, but it's workable, it's doable. And I think we need to think outside the box, besides the sales tax, of course, right now, and that's with the legislature. And looking for grants. We have plenty of grants out there right now that are just waiting to be picked up. Say, hey, pick us. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb, and you'll be first again. How do you plan to How do you plan to revitalize downtown Pullman?
I don't know. What's your plan? How do I plan to revitalize downtown Pullman? Are you talking about the infrastructure plan? Are you talking about the beautification plan? Are you talking about the streets? Are you talking about the sidewalks? Are you talking about the trees? Okay, so this is how I look at it globally. We get done what we need to get done to take care of the sidewalks. We should have had the state pay for their many years of whatever we put into the ground, gas stations included. But we don't have that opportunity. So we need to be able to come together as a community, have clear and concise communication again and again and again. And I can't stress that enough because that was the problem heading into this. And then we need to work together as a community that says, we can do this. Not naysaying, oh, it's not gonna work, it's gonna be terrible, people aren't gonna go downtown. But we need to create that excitement that we are on the cusp of a city, of being a small city. And we need to have that attitude, that positive go-get-em attitude. Now, in terms of the question about how to take care of that, I think it takes the citizenry to tell us, how do we do that? I know some things that worked for me in the past from herding cats, but I also know that there are many brilliant ideas out there and creative ideas in this community right here in River City, that we can come together and build it to the best of our abilities.
Thank you, Deb. Francis?
Thank you. So if we look at what are the things we need to revitalize downtown, the first thing that's being worked on is the downtown project. And if we look at a project that's this type, statistically what it shows is that it will bring 25% increase in business growth into that area when the project is done. So part of the revitalization and increasing business activity in the downtown, increasing the amenities and the activities that you want is getting the project completed. Now, I also, as a part of the Downtown Association, I chair the Economic Vitality Committee. That committee is focused on how do we help businesses in the downtown area. So the different structures within the Downtown Association. The Economic Vitality Committee, it looks at how do we grow businesses downtown and how do we help and how do we get new businesses in and how do we grow the businesses that are there. And as a part of that committee, we're working on business toolkits in order for somebody who wants to start a business downtown, what are the best practices and the best strategies. We're looking at where are the gaps in businesses that are normally in a vibrant downtown in order to work to recruit and attract them into the downtown. I was in a meeting earlier today where one of the things that we're looking at is during the downtown project, there's some work that the businesses can do on their business themselves. And I'll use an example, fire sprinkler systems. That would be the key and opportune time to do that. And so working with them, and there's some specific low interest loans that are available. The other thing is I was in another meeting today in which I'm on the committee that's working to form a creative arts district within our community that overlays on top of the downtown. And that creative arts district is designed to be able to bring in art activity and when we say creative arts, it's all type of arts, so creative businesses into the downtown area also. Thank you.
Thank you. Francis, again, how will you work to improve Pullman's infrastructure specifically related to cybersecurity?
I know who wrote that one. That's fine. Cybersecurity. I work in IT, and so I understand if you can fully understand, I should say, the issues related to cybersecurity. Cities are just as vulnerable as businesses are, and as it relates to cybersecurity, this is something that, as a community, we need to work on not just for improving the city's cybersecurity, but also businesses' cybersecurity and individual private cybersecurity. I feel all three of those need to work together, and as a part of that, there's an educational component that needs to be done. There is then changes in infrastructure that needs to be done, and depending on which system you're in is going to affect what type of changes that you need to do there. I know that we have some very good experts that are in this field, in this community, and offer to help and work with the city on this, and I'm excited to be able to work to partner with them also in order to expand. The cybersecurity is often something that isn't thought about until it's a problem. And this is something that we do need to be aware of, that attacks happen, and we don't want to be the city that has that attack happen. And I think about, well, I won't talk about all the different ones that I've done experience with, but it's one of those things that it is something that is very critical, very important. A lot of people don't think about it, but we need to work on it.
Thank you. Deb?
I think cybersecurity is something that's foremost on many business minds. They have our credit cards, they have our information, so they should be doing that and taking care of it already. However, there are experts out there that can help them deal with anything that they might happen to get. I think Francis's answers were a given. I'm not going to repeat them. I think that helping our departments see and practice risk management skills is absolutely necessary for all of us to be in a heightened form of awareness. I don't walk down the hallway just nilly-willy with 200 cats. I walk down the hallway being super vigilant about who's coming up beside me, what's going on. I was always smaller or shorter, so they didn't know I was there, so that was a good thing. But in terms of being surprised, you can't be surprised. You have to be able to be prepared no matter where you go, whether you're walking down the street or you're taking care of the computer in your TV room, or you're taking care of the computer in your phone. We have to be vigilant about it and making sure our department heads are ready to go with whatever comes their way and practice that. We've got a good deal there.
Thank you. And you'll be answering first again. Pullman is facing water aquifer issues. What are your plans and strategies to remedy this crisis?
Before I even ran for mayor, water was a top priority for me. I've been reading several civic-minded books, and the one that I enjoy the most and is easiest read is called 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. And the number one way to kill your community is to not worry about the water. That is the number one way that we can kill this community. So I have 3 steps at least, or 3 things I'd like to do. One is we have this Pullman Conserves with the rebates and the offers, but we have 40% of our population that moves in and out of Pullman every year. Or they either move in or out, or they move to a different house. Can you imagine if we don't put that list up at the top and always have the Environmental Resiliency Committee to teach about it and to bring it up in our social events? Then we have people who don't know about it. So let's bring that back up to the forefront. We need to continue with a watering system, and we need to report those results back to the community so that you know that we're speaking transparently and that we're not just pulling your leg about, oh, we need to take care of the aquifer. And then we need to research and work with groups on the Snake River option of bringing water up through the pipes and using that water for various and other issues that we need besides the aquifer water. The aquifer is going down 1% a year. And if we think 50% in 50 years, we may not be here. It's because, but if the water is here and we take care of it, then our kids and their kids can be here.
Thank you. Francis?
Thank you. If we think about what is the single most issue that's affecting Pullman, if we look long range, water is our biggest issue. Water is gold in this day and age, and we need to be responsible with the water, and it's not something that we should take lightly. Our current aquifer system is, if we look at the aquifer itself, it's unknown how large it is. We currently have a 7-inch decline per year that's going on, but we don't know how long or how big it is, so we don't know what that full percent is that the decline is going on. We know by inches how much is going down, but we don't know, is it 10 years, is it 50, is it 100? So the aquifer is something that we need to deal with. We need to get it stabilized, and we actually then work to refresh. To stabilize it, conservation is the piece that we're working on now. This last year, we instituted even on watering days and certain times for watering days, and that's getting into the personal conservation with watering. We also have where you get rebates, but that Pullman conserves as it relates to toilets, as it relates, you can get low flow shower heads. One of the things that I did this year, taking responsibility, was I took out our front lawn and actually put in a xeriscape lawn that uses the plants of our area. So there's that side of it. Then the other side is looking at what other water can we pull from. The Snake River example that McNeil talked about is one that's being considered as one of 5 options. Right now, Moscow is saying that's the one they want to go with. A year ago, that wasn't the primary one that was being recommended by PBAC, so I'm very interested in the Water Summit that's coming up to hear their take on why they're switching from one recommendation last year to now the Snake River one this year. Thank you.
Thank you. And you'll be first up for this question. What steps will you take to make housing more affordable and ensure it remains accessible to all residents?
As it relates to housing affordability, there's things that have happened so far this last year as it relates to allowing up to 4plexes to be built into an R1 zone, so to allow that piece. The city also, we previously passed authorization for ADU, so accessory dwelling units to be located on property, and others might know them as mother-in-law apartments, in order to provide additional opportunities for housing. When we get into affordable housing, I feel that we need to look at the land trust model, not the model that Moscow has, but a land trust model that looks at creating this affordable piece. I feel that we also need to look at the options of smaller lot sizes in some area, because the lot size can affect the cost of the home, and so some areas and developments with smaller lot sizes are going to make a difference also as it relates to that. The other challenge is the Building Code Council is mandating certain things to be done on all buildings that are actually increasing the price, and so I'm trying to work with the Building Code Council, of which we have in Whitman County one of the representatives that is on that Building Code Council, and we're working with him to see how can we get the Building Code Council to take into consideration their recommendations, and they're not actually recommendations, they're mandates as it relates to building, and take into consideration this affordable housing piece. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
What steps will you take to make housing more affordable and ensure it remains accessible to all residents?
Well, thank you, Francis, for answering part of my question. But that was the learning part. What I would like to offer to you is a question. Is there such a thing as affordable housing? We started a couple years ago thinking affordable housing was 30%, and now it isn't. And now it's not even 50%, especially with the amount of money that you have to put down on a house. So what I'd like to do is talk to you a little bit about how we can work with builders in the local area who keep their local monies here to listen to seniors. Seniors are crying out for single-level homes. They're more expensive to build than a 2-story, 3-story home, but they want a small plot. They don't need to have extravagant countertops. So how is it that the builders can work with single seniors in a 1,000-square-foot home where they have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and then how can they create those affordable homes for those seniors? And those seniors, I've talked to them, many of them since May. Seniors would love to take their older homes and sell them to entry-level families. And they're willing to take a cut on their price so that those families can have the same opportunity they had many, many years ago. I think the land trust model is something that needs to be looked at, and I think we need to work with the state and say, hey, you know, what works in King County might not work here. How can we take care of some of those differences and create the housing we need here for our citizens and those people who want to move into Pullman?
Thank you. And you'll be first. Yeah, yes.
Slow there.
How will you address traffic concerns in Pullman, downtown and beyond to improve accessibility for all Pullman residents?
Should I say bypass?
Yes.
I think bypass back in the 1940s, 50s maybe, we should have, but should have, would have, could have, right? So we can't look back, we can only look forward. So let's work on that bypass. Let's get that feasibility money through the legislature this next budget season. Let's take care of the Department of Transportation Eastern Division to take a look at it. Let's talk with Moscow. They've got the same problem. They're sending their trucks through town to our town, but how could we take a look at how the Department of Transportation from both states could look at how we could take some kind of part of their need and part of our need and wrap it around this town so that we aren't having to deal with it all the time. Now, we are at critical mass right now. You can see it since our transit system no longer takes trippers to the middle school and the high school, and now it takes those kids an hour to get to school from one hill or the other. You can see the traffic in the morning, and in the afternoons it's just crazy. So we just need to work at what it is we need to do with Paradise, Grand from North Grand to South Grand, and then make sure that all our arterials are designed so that we have the ability to grow houses and compact housing in those arterial areas, so that also relieves the pressure downtown on our roads.
Thank you. Francis?
So related to the question, you were talking about accessibility, or?
How would you address traffic concerns in downtown and beyond to improve accessibility for all?
So if we look at accessibility, part of the downtown project is what it's going to do is it's going to add ADA parking along Main Street to be able to increase that as it relates to accessibility. It's also going to allow bump outs for pedestrians in order for safer routes as it relates to pedestrians being able to get across the street for downtown. The other piece that it looks at is for Main Street. If we look at our traffic signaling Currently, our traffic signaling, we've tweaked it as much as we can to improve efficiency, but there's an upgrade that we'll be doing as part of the downtown project, at least if it comes in with the bid, to be able to increase the timing along Main, and then we want to work on doing the same thing for Grand. So to increase the efficiency that way. So that's part of the pieces that's being worked on as it relates to efficiency. Now, can we really solve the issue without either one, adding a bypass, or two, and then maybe one and two, additional north-south roads to go through town? And that's where a challenge is with our Fort Hills. We have 5 different bypass options that have been on the table that I know of for the last 20 years. The ones that I feel that have the best solution right now is the Santa Kirkendall one, which is a truck bypass that would at least get the truck traffic off on the south end of town. I know there's one that's been proposed that is an Albion bypass that would allow us to encourage people that if you're on the north end of town and want to go to Colfax, you go through Albion rather than you come back through the downtown. So ways to get people not to come back through the downtown. The other bypasses, the Department of Transportation has basically said there's no funding for it. And so it's something, the bypass needs to be done in order for us to really solve the downtown issue. But it's going to be $100 million plus is what the project is going to cost us, and that's going to take some working with the legislature and federal government in order to find that funding, because we don't have that personally.
Thank you. And I already asked Deb that question, right? Okay. Francis is up next. How would you have better communicated the downtown plan to the community?
You know, as council members, we've all thought about this a lot. And this is where I talk about the two-way communication. The city announced back when we had finalized things this spring that it was finalized, but what needed to have happened at that point in time was for there to be a announcement, a public comment period of time where public can provide that two-way communication feedback, and then for the council to come back again and revisit that. That's if we had a crystal ball and could go back in light of how the communication has gone on. That's what we should have done. As a council, we honestly felt that we communicated well enough on the trees, because we'd had multiple meetings related to discussions around trees, and felt that we had received all of the input and all the potential options at that point in time when we made our decision. But this is where, in hindsight, and not everybody felt that they had their communication and their voice heard, and so that's why for me it's very important that even though we can't go back and change this, that as a council and as a city we need to learn and we need to change because of it.
Thank you. Deb? Of course. How would you have better communicated the downtown plan to the community?
What's the goal? Is it basic? Do we understand it? Why are we doing this? And then we go from the goal to make sure everybody on the council understands this is the goal, this is the money we're going to use. I do many of these phases before we even got to a Welch Comer. So phase 1, understand the goal. Also understand how our residents glean information from the city, so that our communications line is effective for everyone, and that we are able to provide that communication in various ways. And then we need leadership that goes out. It goes out to the community. It doesn't hold meetings for meeting's sake, but for understanding what our community wants to see. How does it want to have the city look? Those types of things can often be done in mini groups, in PTAs, in student groups, in schools, in special interest groups, and especially with businesses. And the landowners downtown as well. Let's communicate very concisely with them in terms of what our goal is and how we need to move forward in order not to leave anyone behind. That we all come together. Some of us aren't going to like the end result, but some of us are going to really like it. And if you don't like it, it might be because you don't want this flower bed over here, that flower bed there. But that we all work together and that we don't make assumptions. You know what that does. That creates mistrust of government. And that's where we are right now. We need leadership that can come in and build that trust up and be able to include everyone so that we have a city that moves forward and is not torn apart.
Thank you. All right, Deb. Next question. What is your vision for increasing interaction with WSU?
It astounds me that we have experts in this community and we have experts up on the hill, and neither the two should mix. What is it? What is it about the psyche of a community that sees all these experts on the hill? I'd say on the hill because they are on the hill. Otherwise I would say in the valley. What is it that keeps us from saying, hey, we have some of the answers. We're experts in our fields. We're experts in planning commissions. We're experts in infrastructure. WSU, as a land-grant institution, is required by law to help communities thrive. So what's holding us up? Nothing. Nothing is holding us up except for leadership that will bounce around, talking to students, talking to faculty, talking to graduate and professional students who are here probably on a school visa and are working toward a doctorate degree and they're teaching our younger students or associated students, employees. We can talk to the shareholders of a university, and then we can also encourage our city experts. Say, hey, let's come together on this. Let's work to make sure that there are things that the university has top-notch technology that can help this city, or help the city write a grant, or offer free services. I know often free services come with some requirements, but not much. Not much in the sense that Washington State University is here for us. And I welcome, as a mayor, I would welcome all types of groups to get together to take care of that.
Thank you. All right, Francis, what is your vision for increasing interaction with WSU?
So Pullman and WSU, they already have one group there's a number of connection groups that actually meet with WSU and the community. One of them is the Downtown Collaborative. That's something that meets on a monthly basis where they look at what are the issues that are joint issues as it relates to WSU and Pullman. That's something that I feel needs to be strengthened. We need to continue to grow that relationship in that way. Most of the focus has been around College Hill, safety, around infrastructure, transportation, around connections of the downtown to the university, around those pieces. And we now need to grow other aspects of it. One of the things that WSU was hesitant to get too far ahead of themselves is they just finished a strategic plan. And they wanted to wait until the Pullman strategic plan was in place before they then advanced initiatives. And one of their initiatives as a part of the strategic plan is around art. And because of that, now there's some meetings that are going on as it relates to art in the community and being more connected in the community. things that I want to do, we have a great relationship with ASWSU, where as a council, we meet twice a year with them. I want to grow that with the graduate students. I feel that's something that's important for us to do. As Deb said, the land grant mission says that this is an opportunity for WSU to be a test bed for their innovations that are here. And that's what I have worked on a number of the different joint projects. If I think about the Gateway project, I think about some of the different projects where WSU and the city, or WSU and an entity within the community have collaborated on. CCE is an example of Center for Civic Engagement. And those are areas that we can continue to strengthen and grow. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're first for this next question. How do you propose to ensure that ideas of the Art Commission and the Art Foundation are considered by City Council?
So the way, the Arts Commission, the way it's set up is that if there is public art that is being recommended, it runs through the Arts Commission. We need to get that Arts Commission back up and going. That's one of the things that as council we said that we set that this year this has to happen. There's not very much time left in this year, but that's something that the city council has requested. What we're informed is that we haven't had enough people apply for the Arts Commission to get it back up and going again. And so if you have a passion around art, especially around public art, please go onto the city's website and apply. Because just because we want to form it, we need to have then the community that connects and engages in as a part of it. For the Pullman Arts Foundation, I've worked very much with Joe Hedges with the stuff that he does. He collaborated with me on the Three Forks River and Arts Festival, where historically the Arts Commission has done the art walk, but because the Arts Commission wasn't there, I said I'm going to take on and lead the effort to make sure we have an art walk and a festival this last year. And so with collaborating with the Pullman Arts Commission, we actually put that on jointly. And that's something that, for me, I have a passion and I'm dedicated to this around art, and I want to advance this in the community, and this is a high priority for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb?
Yes.
Yeah, you got it. How do you propose to ensure that ideas of the Art Commission and Art Foundation are considered by City Council?
Well, we all know why the Pullman Arts Foundation is there. It's because of the debacle of the Black Lives Matter episode by the City Council for the Arts Commission. So the Arts Foundation gathered their stuff up, their visual arts mostly, and they went into a nonprofit foundation where they can have a little bit more control over what they wanted to do. And I applaud them for that. And I would say, based on the amount of support they've received from the murals that they've done with the help of Civic Trust. Civic Trust is always great for finding money where it's in the tiniest, deepest corners. And keep on going with it. The city lost its chance. What we need to do now is rebuild that trust with the City Council that our Pullman Arts Commission is going to be heard. And that anyone who comes back to that commission understands their role on that commission as advisory, of course, but they do the research, they do the education, and they form those events or those ideas to the City Council without no harm. And that's why we don't have a City Arts Commission, plain and simple. And I have that on my first 3-month plan. And I said, 3 months? Why? It's gonna take a lot of work and a lot of trust growing to bring that council back.
Thank you. you. And you'll be first up for this next question. How will you build an inclusive community and address the discrimination endured by Pullman's non-white residents?
For 38 years, everyone walked into my classroom. I loved them and worked with them and helped them and guided them. And they taught me more than I believe I ever taught them. I bring to this leadership years and years, decades of experience on inclusivity. And I am proud to say that we are making progress. But as a mostly all-white community, there are some issues out there. We have mixed-race children coming home from school being called the N-word. That's not acceptable here. But how do we reach those people who, for one reason or another, feel like they are superior to others? So I would work with the schools, mental health, with art, because art is a huge diffuser of conflict. And I would work with everyone who could come to the table to create an understanding of why we need to understand and include everyone. I will say this is not a story for our people of color to take on. It is our story to educate our kids about how we are accepting of others. So I lost my train of thought on that, but you can tell I'm very intense about this, and my time's up, but if anybody wants to know more, come see me later.
That was good timing. Francis?
Thank you. I know there was a reference earlier about the Black Lives Matter murals vote. And just for clarification, even though the rumor's out there, I was not on city council at the time, so I did not vote against the Black Lives Matter mural, just for clarification. Now, if we look at, I have a 20-year history, and more than 20-year history of active as we relate to respect and value of dignity of individuals. I started out on the Human Rights Commission over 20 years ago, the Pullman Human Rights Commission. I currently am on a statewide diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging council cabinet that is working on identifying what are the best practices in cities and to bring them back in order to build a community that everybody feels valued in. I'm very active in my support with Dr. Terry Buffington and her work that she's doing, because I believe that's something that's important for a whole community. Other aspects of things that I'm involved with, and this is, because the question is, how will we do this? And so things that I've done is, at the last Lentil Festival Chili Bowl, I was over it, I actually reached out, and the Nimiipuu tribe, they carved a stirring paddle that we actually christened the Chili Bowl with, and their leaders were the first leaders to be the celebrity stirrers for the Lentil Festival Chili Bowl, as an example. I've also reached out to the Nimiipuu tribe to make sure they were involved in the Three Forks River and Arts Festival. And most recently, as I've started the discussion, that one of the things important to me is we have our 150th anniversary coming up in our community, and what I'd like to see, and this is something I actually go through the Arts Commission, is a commissioned artwork that honors and recognizes those that are part of the historical. And so I've started the conversation with the Nimiipuu tribe elders of how do we go, what type of art would be one that you would like to have that the city recognizes your history and heritage as a part of our 150th anniversary.
Thank you. All right, Francis, you're up first. Our fire department and police department are understaffed. How will you address this concern and ensure the safety and effectiveness of our emergency services?
you're now back into budgeting. And that's our challenge right now. Our general fund, we are here in the library. In order to increase the fire department staff to achieve our third fire station, which is our goal that we want to be able to do as part of fire, that's equivalent to the full budget of the library. And do we want to make a choice of do we close the lights off in the library in order to build the third fire station? So these are the challenges that we have as it relates to our emergency responders. At the same time, if we look at the facilities that our women firefighters and our women police officers have, it's not equitable to the facilities that the male counterparts have. We need to make that right. But these are things within the budget scenario that we need to work on. For safety, for response times for fire, we need to work to get to that third fire station, but we have to work within the budget to figure out how to make it happen. And in that process, we need to make sure that not only our first responders, but all of our city employees are adequately compensated and they see that they're valued as employees.
How would I ensure?
Yes. Fire department and police department are understaffed. How will you address this concern and ensure the safety and effectiveness of our emergency services?
All right. So our employment pool really comes from Spokane. And Spokane is lacking in their fire services. Their employees, their EMTs, whatever they need, they're also lacking there. We have very few guys here, and I don't say gals because there isn't one on shift that I believe of, that drive back and forth or work sometimes in another place and then come here and work. So we're in a point where if we have a fire department that is out of date and doesn't have the right equipment or the right storage facilities, and we have a new recruit come here, they're going to pick somewhere else. And that has a better sense of how to keep them safe while they're keeping us safe. Now, I also want to point out that it's not an either or here. Let's don't get this confused and pit the library against the fire department or the police department. It is not and should never be compared. Oh, if we want nice things, we're going to have to make sure we don't do this, but we will do this. Yeah, money is always going to be an issue. It always is an issue, but we can find ways to take care of that. Now, it doesn't mean taking employment from another place. No. It means taking care of our infrastructure and making that the focus of our budget.
Thank you. And you're first up for this next question. Specifically, how do you intend to support our schools?
I had the greatest visit with the senior class up at Pullman High School. They are smart. They know a person who BS's them quick. They're quick on that. They know things that us adults tend to want to just get busy and do something else. We're not really aware as much as they are. So first of all, it was a pleasure being up there. Second of all, working with the schools, going in as the mayor, talking to kids about civic engagement, talking to them about inclusivity, talking to them about whatever it is in their curriculum that they need an outsider to come in and say, hey, we've got this. We can do this. You are a great group of kids. We need your leadership. And it doesn't matter whether it's first grade, reading books on being a leader, or second grade reading books on what is a city, what is a community. The essence of who I am is education. So as mayor, the invites are already in. To our young women who don't see themselves in leadership positions very often, I'm in. To the kids who experienced that football night at the high school, and I told them how gut-wrenching it was when I heard about it, and they didn't realize how much their actions affect who comes to live in this town and the quality of our life. So, whether it's Pullman Christian School, whether it's Montessori Choice, K-9, it's not quite to 9 yet, whether it's the public schools, whether it's daycares, I'm there.
Thank you. And you're first up for this next question. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask Francis that question. Thank you. That would have been bad. Good practice. How do you intend to support our schools specifically?
There's a lot of passion there. Our school system is critical for our community. When people come to decide whether or not they want to live here, they're going up and they're making appointments with the superintendent and the teachers in order to talk about the class and what experience their students are going to have. And they're making choices on whether or not to come here as a community based on our education system. So that's something that is critical, and we need to make sure that there's support going on. I do agree with Deb. I also had the opportunity of being up there with the civics class and talking with them as it relates to understanding government. In fact, I'm back up there tomorrow with another group of students, and they really are a joy, and I enjoy that because our kids are our next leaders. My time as mayor, my time as city council is a very short compared to what our kids are going to do, and as leaders in that way, and so to support them. That's the reason why for over 10 years I've also volunteered in order to teach business plan to high school students, because I know our high school students, it's not a matter of if, it's when they're going to get this business idea and then say, okay, can I start a business on this? But if they don't have the concepts of how do I start a business and how do I evaluate this business idea, they're just going to put that by the wayside. And as a result, we're going to miss out on that great opportunity that they could have had, that experience, also that business they could have. So those are the things that I feel is, we need to be supporting our students, and we need to start young and go up through all the grades as it relates to sport. So as mayor, it means you need to be there. You need to be connected in with the school. It means visiting the school and having the touch and pulse. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this will be our last question for the evening, and we'll start with Francis. How do you intend to promote community involvement and specifically find residents to serve on city boards and committees?
I think the Arts Commission is an example that what we're doing is not adequate. We have recruited for the Arts Commission for over 6 months now. I've gone and had conversations with past Arts Commission members related to it as ways to how do we grow this back. And so this is something that we need to change how we're doing as it relates to our communication. We need to be out there reaching people to understand the value of being part. The other side of it is, and this is something that's part of state law, is if you are on a state commission, then you're under all of the public meeting rules and regulations that the city council is under. You're under all of those type of requirements also. And that actually turns a lot of citizens away that say, no, I don't want to have a big brother looking down on me in that way. And so it's that balance of how do we find people that want to be involved, that are the experts that we really need as a city, but at the same time, for them not to shy away because of what the state requirements are as it relates to it. So part of it is the communication out there, letting people know the importance of it, the value that is a city. I value the people that work, and I especially value the planning commission because they have a whole lot more meetings than even the city council has for the work that they do. But within that context, is for our community to understand the importance and value of being involved in the commission, and then that as a council, we appreciate the work that's done, and when it comes to us, we see them with their expert work that they've done and appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Deb, how do you plan to promote community involvement and find residents to serve on city boards and committees?
Okay, I see this as two-pronged. Promote involvement starts at the neighborhood level. And it starts where you can know all your neighbors. And you know their strengths, you know their seniors, you know if they have kids, you know what the dogs are doing in the neighborhood. You start there, creating that trust. And in that neighborhood, somebody says, hey, what about this? Somebody doesn't have the bandwidth for it, but somebody else will. And they'll say, hey, we could go to the city council. Or, hey, maybe we should go to an environmental resiliency group. Maybe we should go to the police advisory group. Maybe we should share our ideas with them. That's one way of getting involved. You don't have to be on a board or commission to be that involved person. Once you get involved, you have a commitment, you start to see why it's important, then you move up to getting involved in, hey, I can do this. I can go and be on the Arts Commission, and the City Council will listen to us. But it takes trust and inclusivity. I know I've said this several times tonight, but that trust has been broken, and we need to build it back up with every committee. I have made it from May on. I have gone to every committee meeting at night and in the afternoons. I haven't done the metro parks. I learned so much by going to those. I might not be able to go as a regular citizen every month, but maybe I look at those commissions and I look at the expert in me. I learn from those people. They're moving in and out of membership all the time. So that's where I'd start, and that's how we could do it.
Thank you. All right, we are moving on to our 2-minute closing statements per candidate, and we'll let Deb go first since Francis went first on the openings.
Okay.
Thank you for being here tonight. Every single one of you. I wish you could see you from here. I mean, I know you have babies at home. You have pets that haven't seen you all day. You have a glass of wine ready for you, whatever it is. But I want to let you know that I see you. And I hear you. And you are important to me. And you are here because you care. And I'm here because I care about you. I care about your businesses. Let's look at permits that can be shortened in time, or take parts of it out in terms of requirements, as long as it's not going against legalities. Let's see how we can make ourselves a welcoming community to our businesses and to our businesses that are already here. I also want to say, before I end this actually, that there are yellow index cards in the back. If you want to know more about an answer I've given tonight or any other time, please write your best contact information on it. I'm accessible and responsive. I answer emails. I answer phone calls. I have phone number 509-432-1201. Hit me up afterwards if you want to know that. I was going to stand here and tell you what I think we should do. And I think I've told you that all night long and since May. But I need for us to understand that we have city council members who are saying we need to improve our communication. We need to get an arts commission rolling back up again. We need public meetings. We really do need public meetings so that we understand what people are saying.
We got 2 minutes, sorry. Thank you, Deb.
I'm going to say it anyway. What is our city council member here doing in the last 12 years
Thank you,
in
Deb.
city council?
Thank you so much. Francis, your turn. 2 minutes.
Thank you, League of Women Voters, for putting this on. I appreciate you doing this. And for those that are here, that is very important. I'm Francis Benjamin. I'm running for mayor because Pullman is a great place to live, and together, I believe we can make it better. I'm dedicated and committed to Pullman. And it's been my pleasure to serve alongside a number of dedicated and passionate Pullmanites. And you can see the passion in the room. My approach, first, is authentic. I'm a known quantity. You watched my leadership for over 25 years. I care about you and my community. I'm a known quantity. I'm a collaborator. Together, I believe we can achieve the best solution, and I don't have to take the credit. And I've worked collaboratively on a number of projects in order to complete a number of things and accomplish things in answer to your question here in the community. And I'm an innovator because I believe that we need constant, continual improvement. I have an ambitious platform that I want to accomplish as mayor that includes building a welcoming community, promoting downtown vibrancy, champion the arts, improving the environment, advancing community health, and supporting business growth. The community needs a mayor who has a history of being involved in the community as a broad community and has elected experience and has a vision to advance Pullman forward. These are the projects that I've talked about, but I know I can't accomplish them alone. But it requires the working together as a community, and that's the reason why I'm committed to first work on that communication piece. My website goes more in depth at benjaminforpullman.com. I look forward to talking with each of you more, and I've enjoyed the conversations I've already had about the opportunities before us. I'm Francis Benjamin. I appreciate your vote for mayor. Please join me as we work together and build our community together. Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, a few reminders before we head out for the evening. You have until October 20th to register to vote by mail or online.
No, October 30th.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
20th.
The 20th, the ballots go out on the 20th. You can register to vote until the 30th, and you can also register in person until Election Day at the Whitman County Auditor's Office. And we will also be on campus with the Whitman County Auditor on Election Day at the Cub if you need to register and vote on the same day. I already messed that up. Ballots go out on October 20th. Please sign your ballot and make sure it looks like your driver's license signature because they will throw it away if it looks forged. So please either sign it and have your contact info on there correctly.
They don't throw it away.
Oh, someone said that. You told me that last time.
3 times.
Oh, they'll try to contact you 3 times before that. My bad. Clearly, I don't work for the auditor. All right, thank you to the library, our candidates. Friday, yes, Friday is our school board forum here at 6 p.m. Thank you all so much.